We are still on our action item, discussion and our action on healthcare. Go ahead, sir, you have the floor.
All right. Back at it real quick here. Don't let me get in your way here. I guess this is where I need to stand. That's good. All right. So just back at it here, we kind of hit on the Scott and White plan when I was finishing up there. Any questions? I went through this really quickly. Something I'll do every day, so it's second nature to me. So you can see at the bottom, kind of where you are on totals and what they look like. We went, go ahead.
No, wait.
No, I was done.
So what I'm getting right now, short synopsis.
Okay.
Is we have, first our current and then our renewal, 22% of UHC. Then we've got 3 different plan options from Aetna. We have a 90-degree benefit plan option 4, which we're really not looking at here. It just doesn't make sense to do that. Aetna is the Scott and White reward. And then the Scott and White. The Scott and White plan, the basic plan, is a richer plan than our current plan. And it's going to save me about 4.4% overall.
Correct.
And then if I want the more expensive Scott and White plan, I can pay out of my pocket $113 a month in the budget.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
That's pretty much, couldn't say it any better.
All right, and so basics of this are is the $500 being major back medical gap plan.
Correct.
All right. But Rhonda.
Well, one of the questions that we talked about outside of your is, if you're out of state, you're really not covered unless you have an emergency.
Same thing under
With
our-
Scott and White, and what we have now, but with Aetna, you would have some coverage.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
all travel a little bit.
Would this take place, go into effect on the first day of hire? That's a big thing with us.
Turns out that's up to us. We're the ones that make that decision. And so that 90 days is an arbitrary number. I don't know where it came from. It's because we've done it that way. And I don't think that's a good answer for anything in this life. So we need to have a conversation. Why do we do 90 days? I mean, a 60-day individual, I understand that a person can take till day 59 after termination of employment to take COBRA coverage. So I get that. That's still out of their pocket. So it shouldn't affect our bottom line. I wouldn't see why we want to park beyond 30 days, but I want to talk to somebody a little more knowledgeable about this myself.
Whatever you choose.
Yeah.
You're looking at me, yeah, I mean, it's up to y'all how you set that up.
It was implemented as a cost saving method because of the swinging door. And that was done back when Sheriff Button was here.
Okay, that's good deal.
And it was his suggestion that we implemented it at that time. I was talking to Rhonda, the telehealth, it starts the month after you begin with the county, and the other waiting period is never longer than 90 days. In some instances, it's shorter depending on your hire date. If you hire before or after the 15th of the month is the cutoff.
Typically, what we see is the first of the month after 60 days. That is your typical option.
Say that again, sir.
First of the month after 60 days is typically what we see. But on scenarios like this, I mean, that's, y'all decide this. I mean, that's something that the carrier decides, the county decides on how you want that done.
Well, in the hiring problems that we're having now, it's already caused us 2 potential employees, because of, not because of the employee having health issues, but, you know, the spouse. And so that's, from a recruiting standpoint, if I can go a little bit north, start a job day 1 and have health insurance, that's a plus.
I mean, the benefits are a big factor in anything. I mean, we see it in the private sector out there. A lot of people, the benefits are what drive people to stay where they're at. And yes, I mean, when you're without coverage for 60 days, when you or 90 days, like you are now, that's a big hit on you. They have to pick up COBRA from their other employer and then just pay that out of their pocket.
What is the bottom line change for us?
I haven't run any numbers on that. What would the cost factor be if we went to a 0 day instead of a 90-day policy? I have never run any numbers on that. No clue.
It could potentially cost you 3 months insurance, which is about, what, 20, $2,300.
But don't our numbers already work where you're building an insurance for the 12 months for
So,
a potential employee?
My curiosity is how would it cost me 3 months insurance? What would we do?
Because we are not paying for the first 3 months right now.
But we go ahead and we budget for every employee like they're getting 12 months of insurance right now in the budget. So it's
Right.
not-
And
expanding.
some employees, they take out coverage for their children and it ends up being more than what we budgeted. And,
What would y'all suggest?
Not really a conversation we're set up to discuss today at this point,
Yeah.
because it has no bottom line with your affairs. It's something we need to set this one down, get a plan today, and then come back next week and have a conversation regarding our start dates and how we want to do things.
Then once we fill out the paperwork, that's when we enter that in. We decided that there.
I would love to see us go to the first of the month, just saying.
That's what I'm
Of whatever we do.
First of the month, only 60 days is typical, because you can't have over 90 days. By law, they can't have over 90 days, so first of the month, only 60.
All right, so guys, I'll tell you straight up what we can afford right now. We can take the Aetna plan option one, we can take Aetna plan option two, we can afford Scott and Mike option one, if everybody wants to buy it, or if people want to buy it too, those few people are needed. That's really where our budget is predicated at the moment. Aetna plan option one is about 0.2% less, Aetna plan two is 3.7% more. That comes out to an additional 6,000, roughly 5,900 change a month. We can pretty much handle that with the budget that. The Scott and White plan saves a considerable amount of money. It's 4.4% less than our current pay. And we can't afford to go all the way to the option, second option on Baylor Scott and White. That's 11.1% increase that fit inside of our budget. But if we take the basic plan, somebody wants to pay $113 a month to move up to that, that's well within what we can do as well. That's kind of looking at it from a money standpoint. So there's some different things there. Decision, pressure everybody, we're late to game, you know, see that's a late renewal back, and if you remember, it started off at 33%. We've got it hammered down to this at this point, but we are literally up against the wire, and we can go ahead, so we go over the phone and moving. So we got questions, this is the time to ask.
And just
How much better is the Aetna network from the Scott White?
Paul, I would say, can you go in the office and that big book of binders that we got on top of my desk, there is a black binder, 1-inch ring binder. It is the network for Baylor Scott and White. You get that binder, bring it in here, you'll answer my question. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, then you have Scott and White too. So you have Scott and White options inside of that. If that tells you anything,
Plus everything else.
plus other stuff.
So is like the Indian Ocean, you mentioned, those are all in this cheapest
They're
and the second.
correct, only number, they're also in that option with Scott and White too. So
The Aetna plan, does it cover emergency room?
they're always gonna go towards your deductible. I mean, that's what, well, if I were doing enrollment with you right now, and I get an emergency room, I tell people if they can stay out of emergency room.
Yeah.
If you have to go to the emergency room, fine. If it's emergency, all means go. But it's like hiring a plumber to come over to your house at 2 o'clock in the morning to fix pipes. It's gonna be expensive, right? And I usually have a flat screen TV in here, but by the time you go to emergency rooms, you can buy 3 or 4 flat screen TVs. Urgent care is the way to go. And that's what I tell everyone, look at your urgent care, find where they're at. If you're traveling, find an urgent care facility. I can use myself for an example on this situation. My son does track. We were in Waco. He's running track. He is doing high jump. He trips, falls, cuts open the inside of his knee with his spike. First thing they say is there's an emergency room right over here. I said, is he dying? I don't think he's dying. Is he gonna bleed to death? No, he ain't bleeding to death. So I'm gonna get on the phone. I'm gonna find me an urgent care facility. After all that was done, I have $200 for those stitches. If I were in the emergency room, it'd been $1,500, $2,000 at a minimum.
Put in
So
perspective, our current UHC policy, it's $500 just to walk into the door of the emergency room. It doesn't apply towards your deductible at all, or you don't have for any of the charges, they may charge you.
And this is-
I had an employee that went to urgent care.
Uh-huh.
He had a pain problem and they wouldn't prescribe him anything for pain.
Right,
Interesting.
yeah. And that could be that particular one, but and if it was heart related, they'd kick him in emergency anyway.
If, with the Scott and White plan, is urgent care considered emergency, or is it just the emergency room?
Just the emergency.
So if you're out of state and you need to go to urgent care instead of emergency room, you're not covered.
You're paying for it. Same.
That's my biggest concern about Scott and White, that restriction.
Let me throw something right through.
Go for it.
Y'all, my stuff says y'all know where I am on my budget. I'm gonna give you my time back, so.
You sure? Okay.
My stuff's.
Well, we're gonna be here after lunch as well. If you want to talk to us about anything, I know you got a doctor, Judge, you do what you gotta do. If you're going to set a plan, we'll good. If not, we'll visit personally after this.
Mine just doesn't change.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks for coming to see us, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Judge does participate in health insurance. He's got a much worse plan to save, so.
I got you.
All right, guys, I don't mean to pressure you, but we gotta start talking right here. You know, we've got the options, best options we've come up with. We started off with 33% renewal. I have brought to you today a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 options, of which I think 4 are financially doable for the county. All of them are better options than our current insurance by far and away. Any of these you fit. Question of which one you guys want to go with. And I don't have doubt, it's not whatever y'all want to do. I will tell you, if I go with Scott and White, I'm gonna pay $113 out a month out of my pocket, because you all know I've got redundancy. I go to the Scott, UT Southwestern doctor specialist out there. If you guys want this, I'll still go to Scott and White, pay $113, I don't care. So if you guys want to go with the Aetna plans, we can do that. I'm good, I way, but anything we do is better than we currently have today, and it fits inside of our budget, we don't have to bust.
From the end of plans, is that HMO or
They're all BPO.
They're all BPO. It's always.
First one is HMO, you want to pay for PPO.
You want to describe what you guys call this as something like?
So this is their preferred PCS Plus network. So when they have the plus in there, you get all of Baylor Scott and White Plus. They're like in, you get Providence and Waco and things like that. You get an extended network in that plus. And that's why I need that book, because it would really get it, yeah.
You mean this one?
That book,
This is Baylor Scott and White. That's a list of all of their providers in here. It's in such small font, you're not have my side, it's there you go. That's
so
not.
that would just show you,
That's the first point. All the doctors that are in that network on the first.
this is correct.
But if you go out of the network, if you mess up and go to a lab or any kind of facility, doctor that's out of the plan, you're not covered at all with that first Scott and White.
Correct. It just makes it on the employee to.
It's what we have. That portion of it is not paid.
And I have no problem with charging that much for emergency room, because our previous, I'm trying before, people use emergency room, like a family doctor, it ruined our chances of keeping that health insurance. We cannot do that.
But how broad, look how broad that is. I mean, what's the chance, unless you travel a lot? I mean, what are the chances? I mean, I don't know, I'm asking.
And
We
then,
all go on vacation, and the other part of it is that zero out of network. I mean,
With that plan, we cover
it's
that.
happened to me with our current plan.
How does the mid-tier Aetna plan, which we can't afford, correct, Judge?
No, we can't,
The
it's
mid-tier,
only 3.7% increase, and I think we can get that in this budget. It's 80 in network, 50 out of network, it's 500 deductible against the gap plan, so you've got one and then the second part, like we cover, or carry right now, reinsurance basically. 30-60 on your deductibles, $30 every time you go to a doctor, or 60 every time you go to a specialist, which is up a hair from where we're at currently. And then 100% of allowable for preventative care, so your physical things. That 75 copay on, lab and X-ray is 8% after deductible, same as current. Urgent care, we currently have a $100 copay, this would be a $75 copay. Emergency room, currently it's $500, this would be 80% after a $500 copay, 80% afterwards. Deductible doesn't apply, it says, never mind, 80% $50, $500 copay. Waive, copay waive admitted, that's interesting.
right,
Then the prescription drugs, 10, 35, 70, the low tier one is the same as current, the others are about $10, well, $10 for tier 2, $20 for tier 3, which is specialty, and I don't know what that is. There's a preferred savings on the 90-day supply, if you take long-term medications, it's 2.5 times retail. So, you know,
so the mid-tier Aetna plan, does it provide better coverage than the lower tier Baylor? plan?
No, the lower tier variable plans, I would say coverage, that's a loaded term, forgive me.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the plan, the context, if we're going to the same doctors we're going today, not out of state, in Hill County. Scott and Mike's better plan for Hill County. If you're in Hill County, it's a richer plan because your adult first visit, it's covered. You still, now it's 80 zero, there's no out of coverage, just like our current plan, so there's no out of network coverage. So if you're out of network, again, that doesn't make it a better plan, it makes it the same as current. Again, it's the $500 deductible, for your primary care physician, 0 for your first visit, 25 afterwards, versus Aetna's 30, 60. And then kids, 0 to 18, no fee, the specialists are 50, as opposed to $275.
You guys have a referral?
No referral.
That would be a plus. I go to a doctor, my PCP, I have to refer to a kidney specialist, then when I follow this, that kidney specialist, I have to refer.
No referral. You want to assign a primary care physician.
Hillsborough, Hillcrest,
They're all in.
Providence, covers all of them.
That's right.
I can tell you, if you guys both go with Scott and Mike, one, I am personally going to go ahead and buy into the plan too. It's gonna cost me $100, or whatever it's gonna cost me $90 per month. I don't have chips, I got specialists I have to see.
Yeah, whatever is the best for our employees.
That's what we're trying to decide, what's the best for everybody here, it's a tough decision, because we got different needs in the room.
On the Aetna plans, is the doctor, are about the same doctors in the Aetna plans that are with the Scott? Plus. That's one thing.
The only thing when you look at this, you have good options here versus for your renewal list.
Yeah.
You're better in your benefits all the way around. I can tell you, Scott White on renewal, just based on us doing a lot of business within 14 years, that renewal is gonna look more favorable than that. This time next year, when we're looking at it, we're gonna be looking at renewal. Your Scott White's gonna be a better renewal than that, and I can tell you that right now. I don't know what that number is gonna be, but I can tell you at renewal time, they really do a good job of doing what's right on keeping the numbers down. Something else that I haven't mentioned yet, we're talking about they're gonna also give you what they call a gain share. Skywire's gonna give you a gain share. What that means is there is 86%. So if I'm just making numbers easy, let's say we paid $1 million in premium. We paid 860,000 out in claims, we're even, right? If we come in, we pay 840,000 out in claims. That's a $20,000 difference. They're gonna split that with the county. They're gonna keep 10, they're gonna give you 10 back. They call that a gain share on the loss ratio. So if we have a great year and our claims are down, you're gonna share 86%.
So, with the basic Scott and White plan, it's great for Hill County local coverage wouldn't cover you if you went out of state, saying something happened?
Unless it was an emergency, like if you're skiing, break your neck, that's an emergency, it's gonna be covered.
Okay.
If
But
you're,
if you just need to go to urgent care, you're not covered.
if you have the flu and you're seeing some relatives in Colorado,
But with the buyout plan, you would be covered.
exactly.
So family vacation, we go to Florida, somebody gets hurt, can I buy up for a month or two and then drop back down?
It's a year contract.
I'm just trying to shoot you further.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're talking about, what, $1,200
Okay.
plus.
So it's just one of those things.
Yes, ma'am.
When you talk about the renewal with we want to bid this, like go out for bids again?
No, we will,
Just to-
100%. Every time we're gonna go out to bid, I'm just saying that when someone sets the floor at 30%, all the other carriers are like, what is going on with this? I mean, something's got to be happening. If they're giving them a 30% increase, UHC knows something's coming, right? And that's what happens a lot of times, these larger carriers will throw a number out and see if it'll stick. Well, that's why we go to that actuarial every time to argue that point. Like they should be getting a 3%. Why are we giving them a 33 and then down to a 20 something? And no, that had nothing to do with this UHC plan that's on here. We picked off the rest of the stuff at the end. But when you look at that, it kind of speaks for itself on those, but we're gonna bid it out each year. And TAC is something that's always brought up. He's talking about paying $113 extra. Well, if we went to TAC, you'd be paying about $175 and no one would be covered at 100%.
It was pretty rough for this year's, but they
Yeah. Blue Cross.
There was 9.
You said you've done work with other counties,
Correct.
what type of plans are they choosing, is Falls and Limestone?
So we have Leon, so you have a big perspective across the board on what happens in counties. Everyone's different. Leon County's on the grandfather plan with Scott and White. They've had for 20-something years, it's a zero deductible plan. Those don't exist anymore. They've kept it over the years. Roberts County, they're attacked. They have a plan with them that went up pretty good this year. Next year, I don't think they'll be with that. They are this year. Madison County is with Blue. They're probably about to go to Scott and White. So it depends on the budget and what you're at. I mean, all the plans are good. I mean, all that stuff we're talking about, when you're looking at plans, the hypothetical, you go out of state, well, yeah, I mean, that's, how often will we do that? How often we out in this area? We look at budget, it comes down to numbers. I mean,
I don't want perfect to do anything good, because I know what we got and what we aren't. But moving up to mind what we do, I just want to know if all improvements, what most of you guys think is the way to go. We've involved people in this every time we've had this discussion last couple of years.
Yeah, I recommend that, and that's what you're asking for people's opinion, whichever one y'all wanna go with. And I'm basing that on some very negative comments I've heard from users of Scott and White
Okay.
that say, you don't want anything to do with it.
You know,
Yeah.
what this,
Appreciate it.
But it's not personal specific knowledge, I'm just talking about stuff I've heard people say that have had to use it.
Okay.
And I agree with Scott, it's all about making the benefits available that will attract, folks that want to stay here and be competitive and offer the benefit.
carriers, it's like a Dodge, a Ford, and Chevy. I'm not gonna drive a Dodge, I'm not gonna drive a Chevy. That's the same thing when you look at insurance. That's horrible. It's kind of like horrible. They don't even talk to them when they like.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got 3 different plans here. One, I mean, it's got some step up, but not much. It's really gonna be more out of pocket for your employees, your wage earners, check people. That's not gonna provide a lot of plan one, because now you've got the 80/20, that's great, 80/50, I'm sorry, but you get that 40/70. You move over to plan 3, it's 30/60, and okay, that's not terrible, that's more in the range of where we were. I'm still a little hesitant on the medical, the prescriptions, what I'm trying to get out of my mouth here. I would really like to know what specialty drug. you have.
That's injectables,
Injectables.
like cancer treatments,
Chemotherapy, oral chemotherapy.
yeah, some high-end specialty drugs that,
Arthur,
that are,
Okay, that's my curiosity.
yeah,
I
that's
don't
where
know,
you're
is
special.
lupus on that, or
So there's a lot of it, and the formularies are different for each of them. So no matter which one you get on, someone's gonna be better off and someone's gonna be worse off on scripts.
But that's it.
That's the way it works in this.
That's it. I don't have one that fits every need. That's the problem. Yeah, I gotta figure out how to take care of most people the best, but resources to employees.
We'll go plan 2 and Scott, wear it down to 2, rather than look at 5 or 6.
Well, all right, plan 2, Scott. Well, I like plan 2, and that's better than plan 1. I think it's the 4th plan 2. You're talking additional, roughly $6,900 a month, $6,000 a month, $5,950 actually. That we can swallow. Plan 3, I got $5,000. Plan 3 work. Yeah, plan 2, 5,950 times 12.
So we're down to plan 2 and plan 1 and. Scott.
So let's, go a little farther here.
Yeah.
So let's look at the dependents. So you have a lot of folks that cover
Ah,
dependents. What impact is that gonna have on them when it comes to out of pocket? I mean, are they wanting to pay more to have a bigger network? Or would they like to have less out of their paycheck?
No,
You have better benefits.
And I look at that, and I see that employee plus family, if we got a family on this, Scott and White's $1,987 a month, if we take a plan, low plan, if we go with the higher plan, we're talking buying up, $330 a month, so it's gonna cost you, which is gonna be pretty expensive there. And the deal is, we just can't eat 11% increase, you know, in the county, so we can't offer that to, sorry, we should.
So for the family, it's about $100. The Aetna plan's about $100 more
Yeah.
For which one?
for the second plan. For a family.
For which one?
For the second Aetna plan there, it's about $100 more for the family. But versus today, let's see what today's. So today, if they're getting this kind of wide, it's gonna be cheaper than they're currently paying.
Yeah, they take low ones cheaper.
Yeah.
Still cheaper than what we have.
1398. You're at 1398.
We're still higher.
No, that's good enough. Just kind of getting an idea there. 1352.
There's less disruption to all employees. If you went with the PPO, they're gonna be able to keep whoever they have now, whatever they have now, they went to the doctor to fit under the United Healthcare or whatever, they established a relationship. They wanna stay with that, if they're gonna go to Scott and White, there's gonna be changes. It's just my opinion, I think it would cover one of the Aetnas would be more coverage for whoever.
And that's what I want from everybody, I want your people, so we really want
And
to.
they-
And that's, we got a motion on the table right now, correct? From Mr. Lake.
It's a little more expensive.
Nobody wants to make.
So essentially, like that.
It's just a tough thing, but we're gonna fall a lot of people on that.
You're legit for some years, for some years.
Will.
You just sort of have to pick and choose.
But anyway we go, I have to look at it, better than what we currently have. No matter what, better than what we currently
Yes,
have.
for sure, absolutely.
So,
And I will tell you, there's a lot of things with employees over that, if they're scared to death, they're gonna be out of network. And we've had some people that have, you know, had to pay a price because they just messed up.
So in Aetna too, we get all those doctors as well.
Correct.
Plus,
So that's Scott and White.
Scott White is in this network.
So if we use Aetna, we get those plus.
Correct.
National.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
national. So if you're in Colorado, you,
fall down the mountain and cut your toe when your gun gets stitched, up, you go.
just been on vacation first, but you've been here working.
so we might have to pick this plan.
So we have a motion.
We have a motion on the table from Commissioner Lake to adopt Aetna Plan Option 2. Second. Motion is second to adopt Aetna Plan Option 2. That would be, go ahead.
It's good.
If that's the majority.
That's a third.
Yeah, if that's the majority of you guys, let's go and get on down the road.
What do you think?
It's perfect out of this.
That's what I'm saying, you cannot let perfect be enemy of good.
We've got a good problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good problem now.
yeah, start there, there's gonna be 100%, what we did, Friday before insurance, it's 22%. Now we have before insurance. We brought ANCO in to help us negotiate, knock this down, we actually got some decent better options. And if everybody can just stay healthy for 1 year, it's all nice, and 1 year.
That's my only call, my only concern is, are we gonna be able to continue to retain our employees with more, taking more out of the check?
My only point is that, and I too have to, I would have to update on the family, but if you're looking at it from an employee standpoint, we're talking about children. I think the Baylor, HMO is the plan. The employee has kids, and I'm trying to think of the employees. I too would have to do the extended and the extra, whatever. I would follow this.
Right now, there's a contribution towards dependents, right?
There's contribution for it.
Is it a percentage or is it a flat dollar amount?
It's not a flat number or a flat change.
Who said that?
Well, it's a flat dollar, but it's not. they can make a choice.
Okay.
All right, so where we're at, we have a motion and a second on the table for Aetna plan option 2. Is there any further discussion at this time in regards to the healthcare system? If not, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I'm gonna have to,
Understand? What's your comment, sir?
well, I'm looking out for the kids and retention of employees.
Thank you very much. Is there any extensions? Which is vote, 4 in favor, 1 nay, and no extensions. Motion will pass. Thank you very much. We will be here today, tomorrow.
One last question, one last thing, and I'll leave you alone, I promise. So we're trying to, as Rick said, we're trying to simplify things. So currently you have MetLife on all your ancillary stuff. We can have one last bill by moving it on to Guardian. Guardian is cheaper on the dental, match the vision and the life. So I think that's a no-brainer in my opinion.
It totally is. So just kind of put in perspective for you where we're at. So here's our current renewal. We had Guardian, it was co-payment exams, 10, lenses 25, frequency, exam every 12 months, lens every 12 months, frames every 24, and contact lens removal eyeglasses every 12 months. So benefits, eye exam, DSP network, $10. Anyway, there's a litany of things here. I'm sure you don't want to read every last one. And employee only was $6.20. And you're saying Guardian plan option,
They matched it, try to set.
they match the right side. So it's no different, no change in benefit, no change in premium.
Last bill, one last bill we have. We already have Guardian, so we'll just put it down and then.
Okay, we have a motion for a second that we accept Guardian.
Question about that.
Go for it.
That is, I see that you can only cover your child up to age 19 under that plan.
That is on, that's not true.
That's not, I don't have it on this.
That's talking about ortho. Oh, no, I'm talking about
That's
normal.
different. I'm talking about the.
Oh, just ortho one.
That is an ortho, right.
Okay.
Now you're 26.
I'm sorry, I was just on vision at this point, clarification.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion, was there a second there? Okay, motion and a second, take Guardian plan option 1 for 2021 group vision, plan option. So, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any extension, that brings us to dental. Option one, we got Guardian. So on dental, currently, we're still. There's no change between the two, with the exception that MetLife is at 26 and Guardian will go down to age 19 on retirement. And then it's a 2% reduction in premium,
Versus.
on versus current, correct?
And that major services goes
From
up
50
to
to 60.
60% instead of 50, and that's big, that's crowns, inlays, onlays, that kind of thing.
Oh,
So that's.
Just to get it a little more complicated, they also, Guardian also has what they call rollover benefit too. So if you don't spend $1,500, like, if they have a threshold of like $700, they let you roll over benefit for the next year. So instead of a $1,500 benefit, you could have an $1,800 benefit. So they reward you for getting your teeth cleaned and doing basic work on it too. So. And something else on the Guardian. They also has a tuition reimbursement, so like if you enroll in their dental plan, it gives you an option to enroll your kids in a benefit of pay like $2,000 to a private college or whatnot, just by being with the Guardian too. So it's just a benefit if you have your kids on, go in and enroll, and then you get that tuition benefit. They have like 300 colleges that you can go to. So. Yeah.
I'm not going back to school again with that.
No.
Me either.
All right, we have a motion to accept Guardian plan option 1 for Hill County 2021 group dental plan. Second. There's a second. Is there any discussion in the gallery?
There is an orthodontic benefit with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Ask questions, guys. Ask questions.
Up to age 19.
Yeah.
Instead of 26.
Personally,
I know, I understand.
but I'm old and I need.
Appreciate you voicing your conscience here. So, all All right, we have a motion and a second, anything further on this? If not, I'm gonna call the question, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, any abstentions? That takes care of dental, last but not least,
Dental.
life insurance.
Baseline. So just to know on this, the premium is exactly the same. If you look at it, the volume on benefits a little higher because we quoted with more employees, that's why that benefit shows a higher premium, but when you look at the life rate, it's exactly the same. So that's the only difference there.
So help me out with that, we're saying premium is the same, but it's different on this piece.
Okay, so what happened is when we quoted MetLife, maybe had 150 enrolled,
Yeah,
we quoted 160.
okay.
Does that make sense? So that's why there's more premium there, more volume,
Oh,
is because we have more people enrolled than it showed on MetLife.
so what you say, it's going to show the same person.
Exact same per person, exact same per person. You can see where it says life rate at 21 cents and AD&D at 0.16. Those numbers are the exact same. The only difference is how we quoted based on how many employees you have enrolled.
You got it, okay.
Same thing.
There's life insurance, anybody have questions about it? Okay. None? Anybody in favor?
I have a question about life insurance. Is the financial ratings?
The Guardian's all A plus. rated, so. The only, like I said, the only thing here is it's like a package. We're eliminating one bill.
Yeah.
And that's why we're trying to consolidate the Guardian. So, and they match the rate. Again, it's kind of misleading based on the volume there, but if I showed you how it was quoted, and you would see what I'm talking about. If it's when you look at that line item cost, it's going to be the same as you are today.
Okay. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion then to adopt the Guardian plan option 1 for 2021. Open group baseline and BD, that disability insurance. Second. Second, further discussion. Hearing none, I will call the question, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion for carried unanimously. How soon you gonna be here?
Really, pair it together on
Tomorrow's good, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna make most of the
Sooner the better, guys. You know, well, we're up against the wall, our first payroll in September, full payroll starts September the
suit.
10th.
I on the 13th, but
Yeah,
the Friday before,
Okay, we'll get after it. I mean, I can go back and get this going.
So we like to open home before the last week.
So, attendance, or I can do that now.
We've got that, we'll review that this afternoon, the needs adjustment, we'll bring back to the board and take action.
And then we'll discuss the waiting period. I just need to put that on that board too.
Correct. Okay, we're gonna run some numbers on that, so we're gonna put it.
So those premium saver that we currently have in there, I had to take that over. Because they wouldn't release the full docket because I was on. So just know that.
Okay. Cool. Good deal. Thank you very much, appreciate you, appreciate you doing this, and
Yeah, thank y'all very much for your time. Hopefully you learned a little bit here.
Well, a lot more than that, would you?
A little bit different was a good stay with the navigator.
Yeah.
That's what it was last year, so everybody's getting.
That's real good. And that's why we have to throw that out. So, thank y'all very much.
Per person. Oh, okay. Per person, it's 24/6. Yeah. Hey, guys, we're gonna move to next. So,
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna
We're gonna go next door.
okay, it's good. I'm busting the wall. All right, so we're still to budget hearing, agriculture budget hearing. Judge Jones, you were up first, you were here, and everybody. Come on, now, what you got, what you need.
Well, you know, pretty much everything's the same on mine, with the exception of this training and mileage reimbursement. Cut about $600 last time, which, you know, made it through this last year fine, because year coming up, if we have our schooling and stuff, I kind of like to have it back. Plus, also my inquest mileage and such comes out of that, and I never know how much that's going to, you know, entail. And so, you know, if there's some left over, it'll be put back into the till, so to speak. So that's all I'm asking for.
2302, you're asking for 600 back in there, go to, the actual amount spent in 2020 was 18,884, is that what you need?
Yeah.
Okay. About $600.
Right. That's all I got.
So everything's okay.
Everything's good right now, anyway.
Right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Next, budget yet?
Later in our time.
Oh, I see. Hopefully sooner, but we may not be here tonight, I don't know. All right. Next, is anything for the judge? Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay,
Appreciate you.
all right, thanks.
Thank you, consideration. Judge Green, you're up next.
I'll be quick.
Thanks, sir.
Everything's the same in our budget. It doesn't look like there's gonna be any surprises. Only thing that I would bring your attention to is court reporter salary.
Yeah, it seems last year, that's in order, so you can't even have to go according to that.
I just noticed it was $200 less than on the proposed. But I know that's changed based upon.
Good 24. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's gonna change based upon this, don't worry, that's a issue, as soon as we get that set, I believe that hearing is this Friday or next Friday?
I can't.
Me too.
I don't think it's this Friday, but we have the juvenile board meeting this
That's
Friday.
right, juveniles is Friday. So anyway, as soon as we set that, we'll go ahead and adjust this. But
That's all again.
what we're doing across the board is 3% possible increase for electeds and for employees, so we're just decided to do that.
You have any questions of me?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Yes. All right, good deal. Who's next? Let's just go next. We have.
Y'all want Mark now? He went back to court.
He's busy in court, we can hang on for him, I hate to interrupt him. Marcel, you go?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, let's do that.
What page?
This report is going to be on page 25.
Need a copy?
We should be good.
Oh, they have anything. The proposed changes really are to put the part-time wages back from our records management budget into our regular budget.
Correct.
The proposed reflected that change.
17245.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
I think that was really the only significant change. We left everything else pretty much the same. Yeah. The only benefit for our office really is going to be the postage. That's going to save us the money, which will help out with our kind of unknown expenditures associated with our new jury application. All of the summons stuff is included, and Tyler required repayment from our fund item for that expenditure. That's a little bit of an unknown, just because I don't know what our volume is going to be like. The nice thing about our agreement with them is that it'll roll over into the next cycle. So if we don't actually mail out 4,500 summons in one cycle, they'll credit us to the next year and won't charge us as much.
Not to ruin your day, did you see what Clinton County did this year? All jury trials postponed to 2022. Yeah, so anyway.
We just mailed out 300 summons for a criminal jury trial on the 23rd of August. We're gonna report our out at the ag bar like we did before, and then come back up here for the actual trial. I hope I'm not sending letters out saying thanks, but no thanks.
It happens and happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's expensive. We did allow we did allow her to schedule if they're comfortable, so we gave them alternate trial dates in September and October. We'll see, I mean, I think the Supreme Court, if I'm guessing, will set by September first, will make some math ruling on it, but we'll see.
All right, good deal. Any
I really
questions?
don't have anything else. I'm hoping there will be a huge surprise this next year. All my records management project is done, hallelujah. So no big expenditures anticipated there now, it's just a lot of labor.
All right, anything for the district clerk? No, thank you very much.
The building down there looks very nice.
Oh, no.
Very professional.
Exactly.
I'm surprised.
We still have some work to do, and Lindy Stoll with Southwest Filing Solutions that did all of our big systems, it's going to be supposed to be back to put up a fence around the DA system. We'll be proposing a shelving solution for the JP and tax office notes, so that we can get those squared away. And that's gonna help a lot. Yeah. But outside of that, that's really our big, like, big part left. On expense, but I think that's where, like, and a solution for the back, it's gonna propose that too. For shelving,
Yes.
the treasurer's section.
All right, back on budget, something I skipped over yesterday that brought to my attention. We made one or two managers, part-time, full-time last year, electric salary reporting. That girl works like a great deal, okay? I want to make her salary equal with other full-time, janitor salary. It is my job. I don't have the number directly in front of me. I was prepared, my apologies, but, I'm looking to try to look at what they can make. So I was the one that, you know, this morning, Lucio had to go to the dentist, he had this on the calendar for weeks. Got to get done, when she takes her personal car, goes down, he's always shared with her, like that there. We need somebody to spray for bugs, she goes out, she takes care of that, somebody takes fire, and tell her.
She was really helpful over at the LAC for us, no
She-
question.
And she can make it one more she can. I want to keep her, she's a good employee, you don't have trouble, she's here at times, no problem, so, to me, I want to bring her thing. Yeah, it's gonna be about $1 an hour. We'll make that.
Mr. Pratt said, let it know when you're ready.
We're good now, he's ready? That way, as soon as we get this done, we're going to, before you have to leave, propose a tax rate and then go into, propose elected official salaries, then go into executive session and try to get all that money out. What else we got?
Do you think?
Maybe next year we're gonna do it.
Oh,
The only worry that I had, the only real worry that I had with the Aetna stuff, I was really glad we didn't go to Scott White. The only really concern I had was the employees.
Mr. Bragg, come on, it's, I know you're working on something, I appreciate you working this in there. We have proposed a budget, commission, we have put in here. That's all. So you don't can, you can. All right, district attorney's budget, yes, sir.
I think everything in there is relatively clear. Really, the only question I had was regarding some of the stuff that was damaged in the flood in the courthouse. I didn't know if that was going to be done through a separate revenue and budget from insurance proceeds, or if I needed to include that in my budget request itself.
My understanding right now, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Susan, is those revenue proceeds come in and go back into your line items for supplies or whatever may be appropriate, and you will expend those to take care of that. So certify that revenue as it shows up. Am I mistaken on that? If I
I
am,
don't
mistaken.
know how we're gonna do that exactly. We've been having people, to let us know if it's a replacement thing. And we can do it that way. It'll just be a lot.
I'm certainly flexible anyway, it's fine with me. So I didn't know if you needed me to include it in here or we can handle it later.
I
Thank
think we
you.
can handle it, I think, in the non-departmental probably be easier.
Our base presumption of putting this together was the majority that would place at least in your office and several others will be taken care of in this budget year before October 1. If we're wrong, again, we can handle it that way, or the other option is to do time to time. We know you had X amount of damages, that'll go back in your supplies to you to spend as you see fit, and we'll just certify.
Yeah, if it's done this budget year, I think I'm covered as it is.
Wow.
All right, if anybody's got any questions or anything at all, just let me know. Just whenever y'all are ready for me.
They told me by the end of this week, I have not gone up there to yesterday, I'm on the day to see if they're putting those circuits in. They're hanging a new panel up there because the existing panel wasn't going to be big enough for that load. So they're coming up, putting a new panel, which is great, because that leaves room for other things in the future. And they're going to come over the ceiling and drop down in that wall between your office and Stacy's, or Angie's, I'm sorry. And then in Stacy's office, I think they're coming down that wall as well, is what I was told. And then-
Okay, I wasn't sure if they were doing that one as well. That's good. That's the one that we often blow the breaker.
Yeah.
All right.
So that'd be great. They told us they were gonna have that ready by the end of this week. I need to go and say for all the feet. They're done this week. Next week.
That sounds great to us. We can, we're flexible and can kind of move when we want, like you and I talked. If we need to move piecemeal, we can do that as well, depending on what the movers are able to handle.
Yeah, we found a local movie company over in Whitney that we think we can work with. We'll be contacting them again here shortly and getting them, when we get things settled out, we're good to go, get with you so we can get the plan devised and move that furniture back in. I don't want to put that on Lucio, and I definitely don't want to put it in next to the DA's office to move furniture back. It's just not. Yes, ma'am.
I heard just follow the girls, I don't know, we're looking for professional cleaner to come up and tell all those chairs in the balcony really need to be cleaned up good and floors.
That's all, we can do that, but that is part of the contract with the folks from, the basic IDIQ to clean after they're finished with construction. But I don't anticipate they're gonna bring anybody in until they finish sanding these floors, simply because that dust seems to permeate everything in this building. So, but if we need to clean it up front, I have no problem duplicating it, twice as clean later.
Yeah, as far as our schedule, we've got this court today and another docket on Thursday. And I've got the revocation docket next week, and we start a jury trial the following Monday. But even with that, we'll still be able to move during the process of that, or at least parts of the office or something. So,
We were
like I say,
concerned they wouldn't be able to keep that, not from the electrical standpoint, but because of those chairs in our hallway, that has been a concern for us, you fire, you have an emergency, get us all those blocked. But it seems like as we get to the majority of the chairs are already in the third floor balcony. So
super. Yeah, I've gone through with my staff and we've gone through the calendar. We don't ever have 2 days in a row that are like open for that. And so we realize we're just gonna have to move, and either some stuff will have to get stopped or we'll work around it on which office stuff we grab first. I don't know. I don't know if the movers will have a process. They probably want to put Angie's stuff in last because her desk and all is right there where you're going to be coming in with everything else. So.
what we'll do is make an attempt to reach out to the movers just so we can get them that. We also start having this conversation. Who's planning for it.
All right, that'd be great.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Anything further from Mr. Pratt?
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it. All right, anything further, ladies and gentlemen? So really, where we're at right now is we've got Ryan assistants who, again, I'm gonna let her say it to you, but she talked with her last Friday. She said, no, all my budget's the same, that's okay, we're good. So,
She
did
can come down yesterday.
she tell you she did, are we supposed to say she did?
Well,
I don't know. We did not see her yesterday.
Okay.
My eyesight question was. Don't get my trouble. The Greg Mason and Tina Lincoln are kind of hard what they are, but we'll still come in for courtesy. But the reason I'm telling you these things now is, part of our agenda today is to take some action on proposed tax rate. And, that Mr. Montgomery has to leave to attend to a family medical event, out of state, so I'm gonna get him out here by noon. That being said, where we're at now, we can still fit everything we've done within our current budget. Worst case scenario, we'll take balance the budget out of our capital outlay, one-time expenditure out of our unbudgeted revenue, our unbudgeted reserve to fund our capital outlay like we have in the past. That way it's not a continuing expense. Either way, I think we can know the tax rate we've got proposed. That's my 10 cents. And you can always do taxes. So as this budget is predicated on what tax question? So currently, we're talking about a tax rate of 0.420202 for the general and 0.0770. Okay, how are you, Deb?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Got anything for us?
Oh, sure.
Systems, by the way, is on page 46 of our budget. And as we spoke Friday, every year of last year's.
Yes, sir. They have opened up some of our meetings for like hot dog and things like that. At first we were Zoom, and so the last 2 years, like I haven't had to travel to Waco, but they don't want to do Zoom anymore. Because it's just hard for us to do what we need to do, so they moved it to all in person as of right now. So there are a few things that I didn't get to do last year with my budget that I will be able to do this year, which is travel to those things, and then I'll have in-person conferences in the fall. And so I would just ask that it stay the same, so I'll be able to utilize it for the next year.
You got it?
Great.
Commissioner, questions, Miss? Okay.
Oh, I do have a question. Have you heard about my grant yet? Because you get a notification and I don't.
Wait, got a fingers crossed. Double time just right.
Yeah, me too, so.
Her grant, so every year, they apply for grant, basically for the position every year. And so, that's the reason we don't pay her $3,200 a year. It's just, we fund that amount in case the grant should go away. We're still required to have a primary assistant. That is a requirement. So we fund that because the grants are in different fiscal years. State runs on August 1st fiscal year, we run, no, September 1st fiscal year, August 30th, the end, and we run October 1st fiscal year. So, we always budget some there, just in case things don't happen. And there are years in the past, not recently, that we have not gotten the grant for whatever reason, because it's not up to us. We apply, we do our best. Sometimes they just think that money needs to go elsewhere, and that's okay too.
It was delayed in applying, so I'm hoping that the reason we haven't heard right now is because it's delay in results,
I'm
so,
hoping good.
yeah. Okay,
But I haven't had any bad news, so that's good.
yes, very good,
Very good.
awesome, thank you
Any
so much.
questions, Ms. Cole? All right, thank you very much, appreciate it. Okay, so statistic later, there's that, and then, back worksheet, so I can bring you last year's break. That's the current tax rate, I'm pulling up last year, so I can put it back early, because we are in this year. Fiscal year 2021 is what we're currently in, tax rate for that year. Let's go to that. Here we are, just the data. So the current year, we have a tax rate from the general fund of 4,397.09. The tax rate for next year is proposed at 4,202.02. The current year at 3.5%, which is the maximum we can take out, go to. The current year for Grafton Lateral is 0.077392. And the next year's rate, the maximum we can go is 0.07704. So both a slight reduction, and it'll take the general rate from 0.517101 down to 497242.
We're gonna consider tax rate 40%.
We did on that in my book, I'm not interested in general, because I can handle everything inside the general that we need to do. Okay, so we're gonna have to take a record vote to make a motion. So if you would, please humor me, I need to do two separate motions, one for the general and one for the F and miles, technically set of tax and other notices. So, may I ask, what is your motion, sir?
I'll make a motion that we accept the general tax rate.
Okay, so we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to propose the general levy tax rate for this next fiscal year at 0.420202, which is a reduction over previous years, better known as the no use revenue rate. That was the motion, and a second, is there discussion? If hearing no discussion, I will call a vote, it will be a record vote. I will vote first, Judge Willis votes in the affirmative, aye. Commissioner Montgomery? Commissioner Montgomery votes aye. Commissioner Trump?
Aye.
Commissioner Hawkins? Aye. Commissioner Blake? Aye. So next we take up the FM lateral. There is the maximum that we may raise it in one year, SB two now is 3.5. Over that amount, it automatically goes to a, it does, there's a word for it now. It's not rollback anymore, that's what I wanted to say, that's not the right word. Over rate, yes. Sorry, they changed terminology after all these years, and I'm still trying to catch up some days. So we can't exceed that 3.5, we're right there at that on the FM lateral. But point out to everybody, overall, the overall rate is still slightly less than it was last year. So that puts the maximum amount that I can put back into FM lateral in 1 year at 3.5. So that is a tax increase, be blatantly clear about it, over last year, even though the overall rate is slightly lower. Okay.
Stated, tax on the FM lateral.
Okay, I have a motion to propose the FM lateral rate for this coming fiscal year at 0.07704. And I have a second, Mr. Hawkins. Any discussion? Questions? If not, I will again call a record vote. I will vote first. I vote in the affirmative, aye. Commissioner Montgomery? Aye. Commissioner Crum? Aye. Commissioner Hawkins? Aye. Commissioner Blake? Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, we have proposed tax rate. Cause notice to be issued on the website and in the paper, and we will take action on the final rate at a time of September 7th. Right now, so our calendar date is. There will be a public hearing on this tax rate on the 7th day of September. You know what, just to clear that up, I would like to make a motion that we hold a public hearing on the adoption of the proposed tax rate for the general levy and FM lateral levy on the 7th day of September 2021 during the regular meeting of the County Commissioners Court.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to second. Any discussion? I'm not certain that was 100% required as part of the tax, but it's there and we're taking advantage of it. The motion is second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. And we operate that under agenda item number 19. All right, that comes to 20, discussion and action proposed elected official salaries for 2022. I have proposed elected official salaries as across the board with one notable exception, that 3% increase, the same as other employees. Yesterday, in this building, during the meeting, Friday, I proposed to cut the salary of Constable Precinct number 2, failure to do the job assigned. Now, at this time, it's 3 weeks before we pick the budget up. I have two choices. I can either ask you to propose it at the cut salary, which currently is 24,000 change, or I can ask you to propose it what his regular salary would be, and we can pay him less at a later date if there is not some movement. Which I'm not going to make a judgment before what's going to happen there. I think the safer bet at this time is to propose the entire salary, even if we intend to cut it. The simple matter is, if something happened, should the commissioner, should the constable resign, should, I don't know, you name it, 100,000 different scenarios. I have until the last day to finalize the budget to pay up to that amount. Should I not propose that amount and say the commissioner constable resigns, I would be stuck at I can't pay over. I can always pay under the amount that I publicize in the newspaper, I just can't pay over that amount. Does that make sense? I don't want to seem like that I'm proficient on what I said before. I'm not. I'm 100%. We're going to do our jobs around here. We're not going to get paid for it anymore. That's just, we can't have that.
So you have made every opportunity to give them the chance.
There was a lot of crutches in that courtroom yesterday, and I think we knocked every last one out from it. And it's all the rest of the world. The only. Yes, sir. So I want to be clear where I propose it. I'm not proposing going back to my work without what I proposed here. I'm saying for 3 weeks.
You're just funding that position.
Correct, is what you're doing. However, when it comes down to September 7th, we adopt a budget. If he's still in that role, I'm proposing 24,000 right now.
Yes.
If he's not there, I can go up. If we adopt a budget on September 7th and he resigns the next day, that next council will make 24,000 and that's it until such time we have another budget year come around. We can only set the salaries and I don't say emoluments, it's not the word, but the office one time a year. And so I'm trying to give us as much.
You're not gonna find one to come in for the
So, I mean, it's a tough position we find ourselves in, but we did not put ourselves in this position. So
just deal with the situation we have to deal with.
Yeah. So, right now, I would recommend, you can ask your council about this, I would recommend all elected official salaries be proposed with 3% increase over last year. We can always pay less. If David mentioned that, we'll cut that some. Yeah, you got to defend our base.
He keeps his out there.
So motion, I'll make a motion. Motion and second to propose elected official salaries for FY 2020 at a 3% increase over FY 2021. Is there any further discussion? Yes, ma'am.
The people that are limited on, for example, Matt Crane or do we?
So there's no slush fund for Matt. And I know he got cited a couple years ago. I'm not bashing the judge, and I would be in the same position. I would be the same place on issues. Max limited out what he can make. He can make by policy of this court no more than $1,000 less. But then that used to be the policy, and they changed it with longevity. So the question becomes: is he maxed out now? And I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't think Max is any longer maxed, because there's a gap between him and the district judge that's pretty sizable. Because remember, our whole policy is he can't make any more than $1,000 less. But with Judge Harris, the way they calculated his, it's like a base of 192, I believe, and Matt's at 179, which I would love to make it one of those numbers. You guys are generous later. The deal is, I think that he still goes up. Your thoughts? I mean, he makes a lot of money, don't get me wrong. Anybody wants a job, they're welcome to work against him, that's not 50. But, the deal is, it's what the state says we pay. And our policy has always been $1,000 less than the district judge, because there are places where the county court law judge makes more than the district judge. It happens, and we don't do that here. So he's gonna get a sizable raise. That's just how it works. Same thing, with Mr. Holmes. Mr. Holmes is capped at the maximum. He has a state supplement and a salary. Now, one thing on Mr. Crane, let me jump back real quick, is his salary stays, his state supplement stays the same. It doesn't go into another fund. It doesn't go anywhere. On Mr. Holmes, he has a cap. Mr. Crane doesn't have a cap there. Mr. Holmes has a cap. He can limit X. After X, anything over that goes into what is the excess county attorney fund, slush fund, whatever you call it. And he spends it accordingly on his people. Mickey, that's the reason Mickey's salary was artificially low in our budget, is because we've done things, you cannot hire an attorney for Mickey's salary, we'll pay her, and the budget he has to pay her over. So what I'm getting at, those are the two that I worry about, you know, district attorney, district judge, not our issue, they're all. Anyway.
In the budget, we kept this the same, so we'll need to adjust.
Or we need to fix the formula. Yeah, I gotta hear about that otherwise.
Yes.
Or. Where we at? Did we take a vote?
Oh, yeah, we got.
Yeah, we got a motion second, we got discussion. Any further discussion on that? If not, I'm gonna call the question, guys. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion is carried. That takes care of those two issues. Then the next one we have on here, since we're running this at pretty breakneck speed, is discuss, go back to number 17, as discussed and will approve the new license for Forest Drive Lake Access Area and Hackberry Creek Program. These are two Corps of Engineer properties that we've had leases on for a number of years to maintain those to go down to it. The Forest Drive Lake is a matter of principle to me. I want to review that no matter what at this point. The other one, I can't really tell you where it's at, but somebody's maintaining precinct two, so, and it's a public access program that we have maintained for down to sometime.
The Hackberry, no,
We got it.
we rejected it 2 years ago, or 4 years ago.
Okay, they gave me a renewal letter on it. Apparently,
It was, whatever, 2 years.
Okay, well, I'll send, if we vote to reject it, I'll send the
The
letter.
Forest Drive, that's Forest, off of Forest Lane over there, that has been remained open. But the Hackberry, yeah.
All right, so it's your motion to renew the license for Forest Drive and reject the license for Hackberry?
Correct.
Second. That motion second.
Just as, for education, Forest Drive, we, were sued over a number of years ago. And it went to the Court of Appeals, and we prevailed on summary judgment, with a visiting judge, and then it went up on appeal, and the judge's decision to basically find in our favor was upheld. That's why Judge Lewis feels the way he does.
We had to fight for that one, guys, and that was a dirty fight, and I didn't like it, and we fought hard to get it and make that public access available. I won't rehash that whole thing here, but I still want to keep that Forest Drive on.
Where's
I
that at?
don't think the attorney.
Where's that at?
It's over off of,
Arrowhead Lodge.
Oh, yeah.
down 2105, Teeling, goes back in there to Teeling and.
So I didn't think that was public access. It is.
It is, that was the problem. Somebody made it. Right.
They erected a gate across the road.
But one time I heard about box where you have money in it, you know, or, you know, empty something.
Yeah.
But the Hackberry, no.
Okay, so I got your motion, which is to renew license for Forest Drive Lake Access Area, but to reject renewal on Hackberry Creek program. Motion second, further discussion. Hearing none, I call the question, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstention? Motion carries. Number 18, discuss and approve paid quarantine leave for firefighter, police officer, pension officer, emergency medical pregnancy. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to amend our employee policy due to legislation passed as earlier this year became effective. That previously aforementioned group of people, that category, there is certain paid quarantine leave for them. I think we operate a lot of our budget within these guidelines from this time to time, but if you want to go ahead and address it, please do.
That household that passed June 15th made it where we will provide quarantine leave for peace officers, detention officers. That's gonna include sheriff's office, the sheriff, the constables, assistant constables. Of course, our bailiffs. While they're out, none of their benefits get cut, their accruals still accrue, they don't, take any, leave of their own. Their compensation stays the same. Health benefits, all their extra benefits stay the same. They report that, but on the time,
And just for general information, this policy isn't going to
we will keep up with that, through their time sheets. If they have an off-duty exposure, this doesn't apply.
What about road and bridge?
That was something that we had to fight in legislation, it was guardrails put on this, because it was going to be no matter when, where, what, and that was the biggest fight we had, to make sure that the bill was pretty much guardrails, that they had to be on duty exposure, long duty exposure, to qualify for this. Because you couldn't have people on that party on the weekend get exposure to come back.
But probably is the weekend once.
It's good.
But, I mean, it's not a, should we do it, it's we have to do that. But it just covers first responders.
We're reliving it again, right? We're reliving it again right now, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I didn't get my soapbox this morning, but guys, you know that Boston, is in stage 5, that last night they had 6 ICU beds left in Waco. So within next week, they'll start putting up tents outside hospitals again, so they're at. The governor's made a call for out-of-state medical resources because they're playing football, something that's a public health issue. Waco, the elective surgery, off board, that's done, those are going on. Our numbers continue to climb each day. We have 2 more unintended deaths over the weekend. I can't prove to you one was COVID, one was pregnant, though. 2 COVID deaths last week, and I just heard another COVID death this morning. That's going to raise our count over 117 in Bill County. Your neighbors, your friends, your relatives, we know this is a serious, serious issue. If you have problems with the vaccine, don't read Facebook. Please go talk to your doctor. Don't talk to your friends. Go talk to your doctor. The only way that we're going to get through this and one of these, you take the vaccine. I'm issues of government agenda. I don't believe in crazy theories. I do believe though that your chances of dying from COVID-19 are much less than like every day of the day that I can read with the vaccine. Shannon, go ahead and run that again.
Just to know that this does cover any communicable disease while they're on duty.
What kind of disease? What?
Stop that.
What was that?
Any communicable disease, huh?
Larry?
So,
If they have to quarantine or isolate.
so, January for the kids to.
Oh, hey, so that's the policy. Yeah. Jared, yes, we are. Oh, Shannon, take it easy on that. All right, so we have a policy that amends our current employee handbook. It's necessary for legislation passed that requires this. I think in our best interest to go ahead and articulate this in our policy, so. Second. Motion and a second to approve policy to create quarantine leave for firefighters, police officers, detention officers, emergency medical technicians. Questions? That's it, apparently. All right, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. At this time, pursuant to Texas Government Code Chapter 551172, the County Commission will reconvene in the executive session to deliberate purchase, exchange, or value of real property. Ladies and gentlemen, this shouldn't take us too long. We're going to do this. We'll reconvene for any necessary action. We'll let Mr. Montgomery move. We'll take lunch, and then we'll come back for anybody that's coming to hold a sheriff and whoever else this afternoon. Yes, ma'am.
And the software that we talked about for the treasurer's office. Later, we're just talking about that. Not on the agenda, but as part of the budget.
Yes, ma'am. Part of the budget hearing. Yes, ma'am. No problem. Love to. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, so this time we'll clear everybody but the commissioners and Mr. Holmes, and we will be right back to you. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
So we're gonna go back and work on lunch.
We're gonna come back and hopefully. We have 30 minutes, we should go to that, so.